If you're asking yourself, should I sell my structured settlement payment, something important financially has probably come up. The truth is, for some people, this might be a great option, and for others, it's just not the right choice. I'm Rachel Goldstein, and I'm a licensed attorney. I do a lot of work with legal and financial content, and my goal is to help people make better, more informed choices. People don't usually wake up randomly one day and decide that they need to sell their settlement. This is because they're ultimately giving money away in exchange for an upfront payment. It's helpful to understand some of the common reasons a person might sell their settlement and what the process looks like so you can decide if this is the best choice for you. One of the most common reasons people explore selling their settlement is because something unexpected has come up. For many people, this could be medical expenses or other financial concerns like house repairs that they weren't expecting. And for others, it's just about a major life decision like starting a business or going back to school. Sometimes it's not that anything is wrong necessarily, it's just that the settlement structure no longer fits what they actually need. They may need more flexibility now than they did before. And here's what you really need to understand. You are making a trade-off when you sell your structured settlement payment. You're giving something up. You're not just unlocking your money in the future. You're essentially paying to get access to your money early. So you need to really understand what the trade-off is and decide if that's the right choice for you. For example, someone might be scheduled to receive payments over several years, but if they choose to sell, they could receive a smaller lump sum up front instead. That trade-off is a big part of the decision, so it's important to understand how that really works. For example, option 1 is you don't sell any part of your structured settlement. You receive, let's say, $1,000 a month for 5 years for a total of $60,000. Option 2 is you sell part of your payment because you need money up front. So instead of waiting 5 years, you receive one payment now in the amount of, let's say, $50,000. Essentially, you're paying $10,000 to get that money up front instead of waiting 5 years. This is just an example of what you could receive, the discount rate and the amount that you would have to sell in exchange for that one payment depends on the company you choose. But here's just an example of what it could look like if you need that payment quickly instead of waiting the 5 years. Another important piece to this that some people aren't aware of is that you can't just instantly decide to sell your settlement payment. You have to actually be eligible to do so, and you have to get court approval. This legal step exists to protect you. So while it might seem a little bit annoying and like it's just delaying things when you need money quickly, it's to make sure that what you're doing makes sense to you and that you aren't taken advantage of by these companies that buy the settlements. Here's what is typically looked at by the court. The best interest standard. The court looks at whether selling the payment actually makes sense for the person involved. That can include looking at their financial situation, long-term needs, and whether they have dependents to support. Next are the disclosure requirements. The seller has to receive clear information about the deal. That includes things like the discount rate, any fees, and how much money they would actually receive in the end. Then there's whether the seller received independent advice. In some cases, the seller may be encouraged or even required to get independent legal or financial advice. That helps make sure they fully understand the decision before moving forward. And then there's the formal approval process. This can include court filings, submitting supporting documents, and sometimes a hearing before the sale is approved. Without proper approval, the transfer won't be legally enforceable, so it's important to make sure you speak with a factoring company who will explain the process to you and make sure that you'll actually be eligible for the sale. So the real question at this point becomes, when does selling a structured settlement actually make sense? And this is going to be a very personal decision. The honest answer is sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. If it solves a real financial problem and supports a meaningful long-term goal, it might be worthwhile. For example, if you need to pay off high-interest debt to save money in the future, if you need to prevent foreclosure, or if you've decided you want to go back to school or buy a home, these things might make sense when you're selling your structured settlement payment. If it's about something impulsive that isn't going to benefit you in the long run, it's probably not a good idea. So essentially, the question becomes, is it meaningful enough to give up future payments? If you're seriously considering selling your structured settlement, the best thing you can do first is slow down and ask yourself a few important questions. Do I need all of the money right now or just some of it? Look at whether you have a real immediate need or if a smaller amount could solve the problem without giving up more than necessary. Have I looked at other options before selling? Look at whether there are other ways to handle the situation first, like budgeting changes, payment plans, or borrowing from family or taking out a loan if it would mean giving up less money in the future. Do I understand how much money I may be giving up over time? Look at the total future payments you'd be giving up compared to what you'd actually receive now. Have I compared multiple offers to see what I'm really giving up? Look at whether you've gotten more than one quote so you can compare how much cash you'd get and how much future value you'd lose. Do I feel pressured to make a quick decision? Do you feel rushed? Because a major financial decision should still make sense even after you've had time to think about it. Have I had enough time to really read the terms? Look at the actual details, including the fees, timing, and payment amounts, not just the big number being advertised. If you can clearly answer these questions, you're in a stronger position to make the right decision. And that's why the company that you speak with and choose to work with really matters. Whether it's a larger, well-known firm like J.G. Wentworth or a smaller, more intentional company like Strategic Capital, you want to speak with a company that truly is willing to help you understand what's going on. You want them to go through the numbers, explain the process clearly, and explain all of your options, not just push you into a sale. Whether you sell your structured settlement payment is going to be a very personal decision, but I hope that this video has helped you see when it might be a good idea, when it might be a bad idea, and what to consider before moving forward.